Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a story of unbelievable resilience. Seriously, this one will challenge everything you think you know about having a winning mindset. That's a terrifying question, isn't it? Well, this is the story of a man who didn't just have to think about it, he lived it. And his answer, well, it would change history. So, let's go back in time. Our story starts in 1938 with a guy named Karli Takacs. He was a sergeant in the Hungarian army, and he was a true shooting prodigy. And when I say he was the best, I mean the guy was untouchable. His skill with a pistol was just legendary, a perfect mix of incredible talent and just relentless, nonstop practice. Look, he had dominated every single national championship. His entire life had one laser-sharp focus: winning the gold medal at the 1940 Olympics. It wasn't even a question of if he was going to win, it was by how much. His right hand was his destiny. He had his dream right there, right within his grasp. But then, during a routine army training exercise, in one horrible, single instant, his entire world just exploded. A faulty grenade went off way too early. The hand that he had spent thousands of hours perfecting, the hand that was destined for Olympic gold, was destroyed. In an instant, it was all gone. The dream, the Olympic hope, all those years of perfect training, his greatest asset, lost forever. For anyone else, this would have been the end of the story. Full stop. So after a month in the hospital, grappling with this new reality, Karli faced a choice. He could mourn what was lost for the rest of his life, or he could find another way forward. He made an absolutely incredible choice. He decided to totally refocus not on what was lost, but on what remained. He started training in secret with his left hand. And get this was a hand he could barely even write his name with. And he told absolutely no one. Okay, so a year goes by, he just walks into the 1939 Hungarian National Championships. His fellow shooters are completely shocked. They rush over, praising his courage and his spirit for just coming to watch them compete. But his response left everyone stunned. He wasn't there as a spectator. He looked at them and said, "I did not come to watch. I came to compete." I mean, think about that for a second. The other shooters were all using their dominant, perfectly trained hands. Karli was using the only one he had left. And then, the unthinkable happened. He won. The man with the only hand beat everyone. But a national title wasn't the goal. He still had his eyes on the Olympics. His new opponent, however, was something he couldn't beat on the range: time itself. So he was aiming for the 1940 Olympics, but then World War II broke out and the games were canceled. So he aimed for 1944, and they were canceled again. He was forced to wait a full decade for his shot at redemption. So by the time the 1948 London Olympics rolled around, Karli was 38 years old. In elite sports, that is an eternity. He was now competing against a whole new generation of shooters, all of them at the absolute peak of their careers. Despite the lost time, despite his age, despite competing with his non-dominant hand against the world's best, Karli Takacs achieved his lifelong dream. He won the Olympic gold medal. But the story doesn't even end there. 4 years later, he returned to the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki, and he did it again. He won a second consecutive gold medal, becoming the first pistol shooter in Olympic history to ever do that. So what can we take away from this incredible journey? Karli's story isn't just about sports. It is a masterclass in the psychology of resilience. It really shows this fundamental psychological divide. On one side, you've got the mindset that just focuses on a long list of limitations, all the totally valid reasons why something can't be done. But then, there's the other mindset. It acknowledges those limitations, but it focuses intensely on the one path that is still open, no matter how narrow it is. Karli had 1,000 reasons to believe his career was over, but he only needed one path to prove it wasn't. Karli's story proves that our limitations don't have to define our possibilities. He lost his best hand, but he found his only path forward. And that leaves us with a final thought. When obstacles appear in our own lives, do we focus on all the doors that have closed, or do we start searching for the one that's still open?